Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to be going over two different AP chemistry questions. These are adapted from the free short answer questions that you can get on the AP chemistry website. So given the reaction CH3OH, methanol, decomposing into carbon monoxide gas and two hydrogen gas molecules, and that has a delta H standard of 90.0 kilojoules per mole. And if we look at question C, the values of the standard molar entropies of the compounds involved in the reaction are given in the following table, with methanol having 240 joules per Kelvin mole entropy, carbon monoxide having 198, and H2 having 131. Use the data in the table to calculate the value of the standard entropy change, delta S, in joules per Kelvin mole reaction for this reaction. So to do that, we have to understand that delta S, standard of the reaction, is just equal to the sum of delta S of the products minus the sum of S of the reactants. So what does that mean? We have to sum up everything on the product side. So here, it would just basically be carbon monoxide, which is 198 joules per Kelvin mole, plus 2 times hydrogens, which is 131, or 131 joules per Kelvin mole. And we're going to be subtracting that from, or in this case, the only thing that we have is methanol, which is going to be 240 joules per Kelvin mole. And if we do this operation, we get 220 joules per Kelvin mole. So that should be our answer for this question. If we were to then go to part 2 of question C, calculate the value of delta G in kilojoules per mole of reaction for the reaction at 375 Kelvin, assuming that delta H and delta S standard are independent of temperature, we have to understand and remember this equation. Delta G standard is equal to delta H standard minus T delta S standard. Okay, so delta G standard is just going to be the delta H, which here is our 90 kilojoules per mole. And we're subtracting 375 Kelvin, which is our temperature, times the delta S value that we calculated, which is 220 joules per Kelvin mole, times our 220 joules per Kelvin mole. When we do the math, the kelvins cancel out. So what happens when the kelvins cancel out? Now we're left in joules per mole. But we can't just subtract kilojoules from joules or vice versa. They have to be the same unit. So let's first focus on this guy here, and we'll try to express that in terms of kilojoules. So just multiply the 375 by the 220, and we get here negative 8,500. So negative 82,500 joules per mole, which is just nothing more than negative 82.5 kilojoules per mole if we divide by 1,000. Now, if we take our 90 kilojoules per mole, we take this guy, our 90 kilojoules per mole, and we subtract the 82.5 kilojoules per mole from our entropy change, then we get a total free energy change of 7.5 kilojoules per mole. And that would be the answer to this question. All right, thank you very much. Have a great day.